Hi, I'm Jeremy Watson. I'm a group product manager here at GitLab. I'm here to talk a little bit about our opportunity canvas template, which is a important tool that we use at GitLab here in our product department to help us understand problems deeply on our way to creating a solution. We use this as part of what we call our product development flow. And we think about product development in terms of two tracks, validation and building. And where at any point in understanding and solving a problem, we're kind of in two modes. The first being we're trying to help understand the problem, gain empathy with the target user. And finally, when we've established that kind of shared understanding and feel confident that we understand the problem, we're actually building on our way to creating a solution for that target user. So as part of the validation track, we use the opportunity canvas as a tool to kind of help understand some of the basics of the problem space. Who is the user? What are the kind of the business goals? What kind of hypotheses and ideas do we have? What are some possible solutions that help us minimize risk and solve this kind of pain point for for the user? And so how we use this is as part of like the validation steps that a product manager kind of starts with. They start with creating a particular issue um, using a particular issue template that we have. And from there, the PM will apply a number of labels, and they will start by filling out an opportunity canvas and presenting that to peers, as well as product leadership here at GitLab. And the goal of this is not for the PM to spend an inordinate amount of time exploring a bunch of different aspects of the problem space. It is to be intellectually honest about how we understand the problem and the user at today, to help showcase this to a wider audience so that they're available, they understand other parallel efforts that might be going on that they should kind of be aware of. Because frequently at GitLab, as we've grown to a large organization, others are also aware of similar problems and they're trying to solve them in their own way. And this helps us deduplicate efforts. And helps us kind of refine our thinking by getting others to kind of collaborate and work on the problem and share their own perspectives on how we solve it. So the canvas kind of looks like this, where we start with an opportunity name that is generally problem focused. This is not the time to be very opinionated about how we solve a problem. And we actually want to spend most of our time and effort in this particular doc thinking about the first two columns here, which are the problem and the business case. So you can see every column is entitled with certainty and then links. So we'll link out to different issues. We'll link out to business cases that might have specific customers or accounts that kind of help us size the opportunity from a business perspective. But I think what's really important is that certainty. And again, I talked earlier about we want to be intellectually honest about kind of where we're at. And the questions here are not for the benefit of providing a status update to others. Really, they're really helpful for the individual PM to kind of think about some of these aspects of the problem space, really ask themselves how sure, how confident they are about them, and how they can improve their confidence level and reduce the scope and cost of what they're trying to do. So under problem, we talk about customer, the problem, the pain, and the workarounds that the customer is currently using in order to avoid the pain. For problems that are extremely painful for our customers, we typically find that they've created services of their own, or they're using our API to hack together a creative solution. And it's really useful to know what people have already created and how they solve them today. If you scroll down a little bit more, you'll notice that we have a kind of a learning section that talks a little bit about what do we know so far based off of the conversations that we've had with customers. What have we assumed? What did we think? And how has our thinking changed based off the customer touch points that we've had thus far? We also talk a little bit about the business case. And previously, for a while at GitLab, we used the rice frame prioritization framework at Intercom because we thought that that was really, really useful in terms of kind of how it broke down a very kind of simple, how it created a very simple framework around quantitative ideas like reach and impact and confidence. And so we explore some of that here, but we explore it in more of a qualitative kind of perspective in terms of, tell us more about the reach and the and kind of the number of users quantitatively as best you can, but also what people kind of right here is the typical profile like the customer. When we talk about impact, we love to see quantitative data, but we also are fine with with a qualitative perspective that's kind of as best we can make it. So, here we explore reach, impact, confidence, urgency, and priority to kind of help us understand as an organization where this is in your roadmap. If there are other things that are more important because the business case is stronger or because the problem space is better understood. And then we get to the solution. And I think the solution here, we deliberately kind of leave a little bit open-ended and don't explore in depth kind of what we think that the solution is going to be. Typically, the description here is no more than 2 or 3 bullets, which is not enough space to kind of describe a in-depth solution. The most important thing here is to understand that we're thinking about what is the minimum viable change must have to be successful, and what should we intentionally leave out so that we can leave them for future iterations and reduce the scope. Um, so I think that that's really valuable, especially at this stage, because we're typically just diving into the problem space. We don't really understand the kind of the specifics of the solution. So, but I think that viability and iteration are really important kind of aspects to at least consider, like as you're digging in. And then finally, launch and growth, which I think is very important as well, which talks about measurable success metrics, kind of messaging the ultimate outcome that we want to have for the customer, kind of in a mini press release, and then kind of how we exactly go to market and how can we, which tier kind of we're going to package this in. If you scroll down a little bit more, we dig into kind of hypotheses, like after you kind of leave the business opportunity canvas behind and you start digging into kind of more specifics of the solution, then what hypotheses are you going to try to test specifically to kind of help you refine that first MVC that you create, which can really help you kind of limit scope. So, we found that this tool could be really useful. And what typically happens during these conversations, where a PM will schedule to present with the EVP of product and our VP of UX, as well as others from the product department who might be interested in the topic. And it always results in a great conversation. And the goal, again, of those conversations is never to use it as as a measuring stick for the individual. But we always generate like a great conversation around how we could be thinking about the problem space, how we could be reducing risk, and more frequently than not, other parallel initiatives that are going on at GitLab that can support what that person is trying to accomplish. So all in all, we think it's a really useful tool. I've seen some great exploration and conversations kind of emerge from it. And I'd be really interested in the comments below, kind of hearing what you think about it, how it can be improved, and if there are any other tools that you use at your organization that you found similarly kind of helpful. So thanks for listening. I appreciate your time. See you.